Everyone, this is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of Eye of the Dragon, Cool and Beautiful, Rabbit Hole, Lauren Frey, and the upcoming Jaw of the Dragon. So, I'm a big Harry Potter fan. I'm really, really, really interested in seeing what happens with Hogwarts Legacy, but I personally, considering the long history of very poor Harry Potter adaptations, I have no real faith or interest in it. Like, I don't expect this game will be good. Like my interest in this product is purely from a perspective of like how exactly are they going to mess this up? Because this is a little bit different from the projects we've gotten up to this point. This game doesn't have any of the red flags that the play or the prequel movies had. And I don't know if that's mostly because of the medium change or because people aren't paying attention. I haven't been following the production at all since this game was announced. And the impression I get is fans are excited for this out of the assumption that the creators are going to be faithful for the source material and that it's a way to like dab on the LGBT community because of course like J.K. Rowling is anti-trans, which is very unusual for people like high profile creatives in today, right? So a lot of people are like wanting to support the game for that reason. But when you put that aside, when you're like you look at like the history of like the developer and when you look at like just how poorly done most licensed games actually are, even from something as big as like say Marvel, which is traditionally a multimedia franchise, you really get the sense that like there's absolutely no way this game will be any good. I don't think there's going to be any redeeming factors of Hogwarts Legacy at all from like a gameplay or fan perspective. Meaning as a fan, like, as a fan of Harry Potter, do I expect this to be a compelling, interesting look at like Hogwarts and its history and its legacy and like, what what you would expect by going to school in Hogwarts? No, I don't think that's going to be that at all. Everything I've seen, it seems to be making the same mistake that like every Harry Potter spiritual successor seems to want to make, in that like it wants to expand the story outside of Hogwarts. It wants to do something else with the property. It wants to focus on like magical creatures and adventure and just exploring the world and stuff like that, rather than being like what people want from a Harry Potter licensed game, or rather from a Hogwarts licensed game. I suppose this is like the trend. This is I actually like this, by the way, is that they're not focusing on Harry Potter, but focusing on like, trying to like grow the franchise. The issue is that like it should be a Hogwarts game, not like a Wizarding World product. Like that's kind of my hot take, is that like there are so many interesting stories you could tell in the Hogwarts setting. It's the Hogwarts setting that's fleshed out. It's the Hogwarts setting that's interesting. It's like the school system that's like appealing to people. Like there are stories that could be told outside of the school, but like on the long and short of it is that like when people say they want a Harry Potter game, what they say they want to do is like attend classes and get into like these wild, crazy adventures, like Harry Potter did. Like that's what people expect from like this property. And really, we haven't really gotten it yet. The play did this weird fan fiction-y thing where like they went back in time and like saved Cedric Diggory's life, and he like becomes a Death Eater or something, which is like the most ridiculous shit I've ever seen I've ever heard of in my life. And then you have like the movies with their just their weird political slant and like trying to convince us that Dumbledore was always intended to be gay, like that. These films just aren't very good. Like since the original books finished publication, the entire series has been like kind of stagnant. There's been no real progression or growth, and nothing as a fan of the property have seen from Hogwarts Legacy seems to indicate that that's changed at all. Like my expectation is that like this is going to be an underwhelming product that's not really going to live up to like what people are expecting from it. Like a lot of people are saying this is going to be like one of the best games of the year. I expect this is going to be one of the big disappointments. Like I expect this game is going to have a ton of problems. I expect there's going to be a lot of problems with like the narrative and just the general structure. I expect that like, being a student at Hogwarts isn't going to be like nearly as fun as it should be. And I expect like the creators to just not really have any respect for the source material. I would argue that like J.K. Rowling herself has no respect for the source material, considering like the things she's tried to pull in the past couple of years with like the whole like wizards shitting themselves thing, and like I said, the aforementioned Dumbledore being gay, which is not true at all. There's been like a lot of the franchise, I think, is kind of going through like this process that Star Wars did post original trilogy, in that it's trying to be something it's not. Like it had this big sweeping like epic scale, and it's trying to like expand it, but that expansion, it doesn't fit very well in with like the narrative that with the original narrative that people loved, right? Like it's so contradictory and so inherently bad. The only reason you would ever read it is because like you were a fan of the original source material. And I don't see why you should be expected to do that. Like I think if Hogwarts Legacy was a genuinely good game, people who even weren't fans of the original Harry Potter would be getting into this. But like the way things are looking now, I expect this to be like very, very popular among hardcore fans of the franchise. I do expect the game to do better than the movies, or well, the newer the Fantastic Beasts movies or the play, but that's really not saying much because those things were like very, very unpopular. I think I don't think anyone really defends them from like a creative standpoint. I they've alienated a bunch of people, and I really don't expect anything more from Hogwarts Legacy at this point in time. We'll have to see how that pans out when that game launches in the next 4 days. But my thoughts on this is that, like, as a fan, I am really not looking forward to it. There are reasons I'm buying it on day one on PC, and I am going to stream it. I am going to talk about it. I will do like a proper review and probably talk more about this stuff than anyone else on the platform. But I don't expect very much from this game. I expect it will be a massive disappointment.